This work session, regular meeting of the Township Council is called to order. In accordance with Section 5 of the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, be advised that adequate notice of this work session, regular meeting of the Township Council of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, was made by the posting on the bulletin board at the municipal complex and transmitted to the officially designated newspapers a list of dates annually indicating that this work session regular meeting would take place at the Franklin Township Municipal Complex at 7 o'clock p.m. on Tuesday, January 7th, 2014. In addition, a copy of this notice is and has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the municipal clerk. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Remain standing for the invocation, which will be given by Councilman Ted Chase.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May those assembled here today enjoy the many offerings of our township. May we abide by the rules we have established, those of trust, fellowship, and ethics, and may we place service above self in our daily endeavors. And may we always test ourselves and our efforts to be sure that they are the truth, good for all concerned, of benefit to mankind, and provide peace and understanding. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Madam Clerk, please call the roll of the council.
Councilman Chase?
Here.
Councilwoman Francois?
Here.
Councilman Kramer?
Here.
Mayor Levine?
Here.
Councilman Prasad?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Regan? Councilwoman Sherman?
Here.
Councilman Vasanella?
Here.
Councilman Wright?
Okay, thank you very much. We are following along on our agenda. They're right here by our clerk, Ms. McCarthy. Please feel free to get up and get one at any time. Follow what is happening. We are now at item number 5 on the agenda, commendations, proclamations. And what we have today is the unveiling of our Martin Luther King Jr. portrait. And it was, and correct me if I'm wrong, put together by our selection committee, Councilman Rajiv Prasad, Councilwoman Kimberly Francois, and Councilman Carl Wright. And we'll come over here where the portrait is, and who are you going to call?
Can we get a mic? Get a microphone? Or-
Yes, sir.
Justin,
I'll bring it over.
give us the
Give us a
microphone.
microphone. Yeah.
And yeah, and then,
Yeah. Going up there. Yeah. Okay, let's go.
We're asking our senior member of the Democratic Club, Mr. Paul Curry, to come up and help us with the unveiling, and also one of our other committee members, Johnny Tibbs and Jim Hunter from the New Jersey Orders. So right now,
Collectively,
would you
Paul,
unveil?
would you do the honors, please? Yeah. Somebody tall can help.
Oh, what was it?
No, just take it off. Yeah. Unveil it. Just pull it.
Well, don't pull too hard.
This is where we
Get a
need
picture.
Carl.
You need a tall guy. Where's Carl when you need him?
All they got is pull it. Okay.
It looks like Carl really does.
It took a lot of searching for this actual photo. It took us months to come up with what we have here. I think it's a beautiful photo, very befitting and honoring Martin Luther King. And Booker T. Washington once said, "In life, you may not get everything you pay for, but you will pay for everything you get." And our Martin Luther King Jr., he paid for a lot. He paid the price for all of us, for all of America, not just Black America, but for all of America. And to him, we honor him. Specifically, I want to thank Councilman Rajiv Prasad, because when we did the unveiling for our president, he said, "Well, what about Martin Luther King? We need to put up Martin Luther King." I said, "Okay, Councilman Prasad, you go ahead and you run with it." And he was tenacious about it. Took him months. He kept coming up with more and more photos. I'd like to thank our township manager. He spent a lot of time helping us out with that, Bob Barlocker. And this is a great day in honor of Martin Luther King Jr. And I want to put a plug in for next Monday, is it? The 20th will be our annual Martin Luther King breakfast over at the Doubletree Hotel. So we'll all be there in honor of him. There's always a big turnout, usually about 500 or so people. We have people from the community, from all organizations. It's been 20 years in the making. It's a wonderful event, and we certainly look forward to honoring him on his birthday. Thank you again, Councilman Prasad.
Thank you. Thank you, Kimberly, and thank you, Mr. Curry, for unveiling this, and the mayor and deputy mayor who's not here for setting this up. And of course, Bob for all his hard work and getting the portrait framed and everything else. Dr. King is somebody who is very personal to me. My grandparents were part of the Gandhian freedom struggle, and Gandhi himself had come and stayed in my home 3 times in 1918, 20, and 22. And Dr. King went and spent a year in India with all the disciples of Gandhi, learning about the nonviolent way to attain civil rights and equal rights and independence, etc. So fast forward to my coming to the United States, Gandhi, who had been in South Africa, the country ended up in apartheid. And had I come here without Dr. King, I would have ended up in an apartheid type of country. And it would not have been that good for anybody, because the equal rights would not have been there. And so we owe a big debt of gratitude for all the equal rights, not just for the African Americans, but for everybody. And that's the key factor that he provided us with, and the equality that he provided us. And as a result, today we have an African American president, and it's primarily due to Dr. King's efforts and the culmination of that. So honoring him is a personal issue for me, and so that's why I wanted to do it. Thank you, and all the benefits I've enjoyed in America are all due to him. Thank you.
Dr. Martin Luther King meant a lot to a lot of people. The fact that the Township Council is displaying his picture here is a credit to this council. And I want to thank the council for displaying this picture here. The mayor, council, I thank you as a citizen here. Thank you so very much, mayor and council.
You know what, this is always not use a spot that I like to be in. I like to have my children do this type of activity. But Dr. King has meant so much to so many people. And for this township to take the time to honor him with this portrait says a lot about you and about this township and what we have to offer for not only for our own township, but for the entire country. Let us continue to take what he has given us and take it forward to the next generation. Thank you.
Well, I think everyone said it much more eloquently than I, but we can learn from Dr. King, of course, everything from the obvious, like the nonviolence, but the compassion towards people, and for the town to honor him is a great honor for the council and the members who did this. So I'll applaud you, because you did a lot of the work. And as a community, we can take greater comfort and forethought that we can move forward. And those of us who are sitting here maybe can take a look around us once in a while, or I should put it upon myself. I'll try and look around us once in a while and try and see what these people, I say men, but there's a good woman behind all of them, I know, that we're doing and trying to advocate for us. So, and Mr. Tibbs, Mr. Curry, Mr. Hunter, thank you for taking your time here also.
Can we get a group picture or something?
You want to move over?
Yeah.
Make sure we don't get in the way of the picture.
Tell us when it's straight.
Can you see the picture?
Thank you.
Paul,
Oh,
Paul, this
Wait.
is really, Roz, we'd like to take
Who's going to take the
picture.
picture?
Paul,
entire council,
Who's going to take the picture? Who's going to take it?
whoever's here.
It's okay. Well, who's going to take the picture?
Would it piss not piss?
Where's Phil?
I don't know what he's doing.
They're looking for you, boss. I don't know. Here, right. We'll do a selfie.
They just want the council.
Oh, okay.
That's what they want.
No. You guys should be here. Come on.
Stay, okay.
Want me with the council?
Mr. Hunter?
He said for the council, that's why.
Emery, could you do me afterwards? Thanks.
stand in front of me. Sorry.
You want any more? I'm available.
I still got
Thank you.
So Jimmy's on Public Works instead of Levine?
I'm on Public Works instead of Jimmy. Jimmy always was on Public Works.
Well, that's a different way of putting it. That's the same thing.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, my phone. Can you email me that?
So I,
Put it on the new website.
on the list anyway, I replaced.
Because we can do it.
Yeah.
As long as we have the meetings on
that's-
Google, no?
We're in the evening.
I do the staff, then I go
7:30.
in. Yeah, I went to
But-
staff.
To have our green team meet there. Tom Zelenik gets it.
But you only meet like every other month.
Yeah,
So he can-
it's irregular.
Right.
It's when needed.
So then he can come in that. Not a horrible thing. So town on a-
We're now at item number 6 on our agenda, which is Mayor's Report. And in the vogue of what we were just doing, my mug for this time is my Martin Luther King Jr. breakfast mug, which you may get if you go. They're still doing that this year at our annual Martin Luther King breakfast. That was said. Again, it'll be the DoubleTree. You can contact, I guess, us, members of the Board of Education, certainly most religious organizations, on tickets, which are relatively moderate. This is our, one of the DoubleTree is the largest and most long-lasting in central New Jersey. And as was said with Dr. King, It's certain, and the celebration certainly is an American holiday and American pride in what we do and our great diversity and people who make us the nation we are continuing to evolve to be. So our meetings are generally the second and fourth Tuesdays of the month, open to the public, of course. Exceptions are July, August, and December, when there's only a meeting on the first Tuesday, only on the second Tuesday, not on the fourth. And January this year is an exception, where we're having it on the first and third Tuesdays, because there's reorganization in there, as opposed to the others. So our next meeting will be January 21st. Our reorganization meeting was on January 1st. We're honored to have the latest United States Senator, Cory Booker, as our guest here. We thank him very much for doing that. On a pseudo-personal note, I'm now the treasurer of the Somerset County Governing Officials, so if I can help you with anything in the county, or you think about ways to coordinate, please let me know. Also, in New Jersey, our Red Tape Review Commission, governor appointed, had our last meeting of the year in December. There's more legislation coming out on that, and how to plug up some of the red tape and the problems that are happening. Any input, I am very glad to hear. And we should have a report this spring on all the things that have happened, and hopefully the money that was saved with that also. As far as reorganization meetings, the Board of Education had theirs, as we sit in this meeting, the day before. I hope that all works out for them. From a personal point of view, I have children in the Franklin Township Public School System, so I want it for our town. I want it for myself also. I tend to be an optimist, so I have confidence that all is going to work out well. Also, the county had their reorganization meeting. Congratulations to freeholder Pat Scaglione. He's the new freeholder director in Somerset County. And some events at which we were represented was the South Asian Community Outreach Organization, their annual recognition event. That's in Edison in December. I represented us. They honored our Assemblyman, Upendra Shivakula, amongst others. I gave a quick greeting on our behalf. And for fun, on Thanksgiving, it was the annual Franklin Piscataway High School football game. We didn't fare very well this year as a community as far as the scoreboard goes, but we fared very well in student support and wanting to come out and helping each other. And thank Mayor Brian Waller of Piscataway. He and I had a friendly banter back and forth with Mike Pavlichko. He's the WCTC person who was calling the game during halftime, so that was very good. Coming up is keep your eye on our finances. I think we're doing pretty well. Anyone could always do better. And as was said about our Martin Luther King breakfast, that's coming up. Please be aware. For more information on the town, visit our website. More on that coming up soon, so I won't say anything else at this point. And for me, I try and put out my fun and information through the Mayor Brian Levine Facebook and Twitter. And I speak for all of us when I say contact any of us with anything on your mind. Next, we come to Deputy Mayor's report. Our Deputy Mayor is Brian Regan. He's, unfortunately, he's going to be a little bit later this evening. He didn't have anything.
Sewage Authority.
Because of the change in the council schedule, Deputy Mayor Regan had another meeting with the Sewage Authority. He was going to attend that meeting first and then come here for the remainder of this meeting.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, so we are now at item number 8 on the agenda, public discussion. And as I was saying before, our agendas, along with associated resolutions, ordinances, are by our clerk, Ms. McCarthy. And just for information, too, you can always find what's happening on our website. I was going to say more about that. Usually the weekend before, we have our agendas, ordinance, resolutions. You can see what's happening. You can sign up for updates. You know anything that's changing and happening in town. So now we're at public discussion. This will be the only time this meeting at which people can speak about anything of of a general nature. Actually, this be the only time this meeting for people, for the members of the public to speak. As is our policy, we ask everyone to limit their time to 5 minutes. We have a timer. When you hear a tone goes off, that means you have had 3 minutes elapse. And when multiple tones go off, that means 5 minutes has elapsed. I'm going to ask you to wrap up your thoughts at that point. We're glad to hear whatever is on your mind. Please note our audio and video tapes are going. Direct all your comments to the council. If we can answer your question, we certainly will do that. So is there now a motion to open the meeting for public discussion?
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion is carried. Meeting is open for public discussion on any item of interest. Anyone interested in speaking, please raise your hand. When I recognize you, come to the podium and give us your name and address, please. Mr. Tibbs. And if you come up, please, so we can hear you here and our audio picks it up properly, keep yourself about 3 or 4 inches from the microphone. And give us your name and address, please.
What's the matter? What? You okay?
What?
Oh, I didn't. I'm talking to Rise. I'm sorry. You okay? Are you sleepy? Okay. Johnny Tibbs, 25 Parkside. I'm just being very brief. I just want to congratulate everyone that's on the council now and that won the last election. And this is, I wouldn't be remiss if I didn't start the year off right by saying that I'm proud of the people that's on the council now. And I think that this year, hopefully, with the guidance of Councilman Phil Kramer, you guys will find a way to lower the taxes here in Franklin Township. That's one of the major things that people talk about at all times. So while you're going through your configurations and consultants with the grants and whatever you can, or I think all you guys should think about getting companies to come into Franklin Township. I think if each one of you decide on getting a company to come into Franklin Township, at that point we can start talking about lowering the taxes here in Franklin Township. That's the major thing. Another thing I want to stress and tell you guys about, there's been several murders here in Franklin Township by teenagers again. It's a very sad case because I take a lot of responsibility because I have not developed a work training program for the kids here in Franklin. But I want to tell you that I'm on it. I'm going to try to be persistent as I possibly can. And whenever I come to you guys for some assistance in developing that work training program for the kids, I would like for that assistance. And I'd like to also thank you guys for allowing me to stand at the podium when honoring Dr. Martin Luther King. And I should also thank Rajiv Prasad, councilman, because Mahatma Gandhi is also who I work and live under. And he says to find oneself is to lose oneself into helping others. And that's what I'll die doing. And I'll do it the rest of my life. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else from the public wish to speak?
See no one come forward, Mayor. A motion to close the public portion of the meeting.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion is carried. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. We're now at item number 9 on the agenda, council comments. I guess we'll start here this time. Councilman Phil Kramer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want everyone to try to stay warm out there. It's very dangerous, and just stay bundled up. The other thing is I need to address a comment that was made at the last council meeting. I gave it a lot of thought, and I cannot let it pass. This was a comment that was made by the mayor when he was not appointed to to the admin committee. He indicated that he had asked to be on the Financial Oversight Committee, and that he was told something off color in response to that. I didn't say anything then because I had witnessed a conversation like that, but it did not resemble exactly what he was talking about. I confirmed with him after the meeting that that was the conversation that I had witnessed, and so I want to speak about it now. I believe the way the mayor represented that was disingenuous. There were two different conversations going on. The first one was with Brian Regan, where he indicated that he wanted to be on the admin committee. I believe there were 5 council members present, so that probably was out of sunshine that he did that. I did not participate in that conversation. The conversation then went on to several things, but amongst them, he accused people of the vote on the ethics board being political. I had just that night indicated how much thought I had put into that vote, how much that vote meant to me, and how personal that vote was to me. So I was deeply offended by what he had said, and I did say those words to him. And I said them in about this tone of voice. I didn't say them angrily. I said those words to him because I wanted to emphasize how much what he had said was wrong and how his words could be extremely hurtful. To combine those two, I think, what misled the public. I needed to set that straight. The biggest problem, however, with this is he wants to be included in our conversations, but now what I know is that private conversations with him can be distorted and made public. So it's very hard to take someone like that into our confidence, into my confidence anyway. So I continue. Last night I spoke at the Board of Education, and they are having some difficulty functioning and getting along, and I implored them to try to work on that. And I will continue to try to work on that, but it is difficult when you're faced with this kind of thing. So I appeal to the mayor to try to be accurate in his statements. I try to say this as calmly as I can. I needed to set the record straight since it was said inaccurately, and I hope we can move forward from this point. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Ted Chase.
I don't have any comments at this time. Thank you.
Okay. Councilwoman Kimberly Francois.
That came up quick. Again, I'd like to thank the council for having the insight and the foresight to do what we did tonight. And I'd also like to thank our Councilman Prasad once again. And stay warm, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Rajiv Prasad.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll be brief and say ditto to whatever Councilwoman Francois said. Thank you.
Councilman James Vassanella.
Thank you, Mayor. Besides Senator Booker, just to mention, we were well represented at our reorg. We had Freeholder Peter Palmer, Assemblyman Pendrashevakula, and Congressman Rush Holt. So we had some pretty good coverage right from local ward council people right up to a U.S. Senator, and we were quite proud and privileged to have them here. Want to just thank the workers out there that have been working diligently, whether it was snow removal, ice removal, water issues when everything started melting, and of course, just I'm sure with some restrictions are still working to a degree outdoors yesterday, today, and so on. I did want to say one thing in response to John Tibbs mentioned about unfortunate incident of somebody's life being taken in Franklin. And just want to mention that it saddens all of us. Most of us find out about these things pretty quick because the chief and the manager are very good at filling us in on things like that. And it happened, of course, at a terrible time, right in the middle of the holidays. And I don't want to get into all details, but I do want to report that the chief, who I ran into here in reorg and was following his memos on it, did express how, well, I told him how thankful I was because I had read prior that they had caught the individuals involved. For those who don't know, it was on Somerset Street, Route 27, borders New Brunswick, and it was just an unfortunate incident. But I am extremely proud, the town is extremely proud that when something like that does happen, that our people here at the police department and the county go to work. And it's not going to change things, but hopefully it sends a message that we will be relentless in making sure people responsible for doing any acts of violence in Franklin are apprehended and prosecuted. So, unfortunate incident, but I do want to report that about as good as situation could happen came out of it, that they were apprehended, and hopefully, if guilty, will be prosecuted accordingly. On a much brighter note, that is just an absolute wonderful portrait and acknowledgement of Martin Luther King, and thank everyone who had anything to do with it. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Councilwoman Rosalind Sherman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I did want to make mention of a photo I saw in a magazine recently that from the New Jersey Conservation Foundation. I'm a contributor, so I get their magazine, and there, lo and behold, was a photo of our own Councilman Ted Chase, who has been named to their board. And although it probably, from what he tells me, happened months ago, I just found out about it. So I did want to congratulate him and let him know how proud we are. It listed his being on the council and the other committee. So congratulations and thank you for all you do, among so many other things. Just wanted to give you a little taste of what's coming up with the Cultural Arts Council. We are going to do our music festival again. It is on May 18th in Colonial Park. So if there are any people out there musicians who'd like to participate, please feel free to call me. My number is right up here, so let me know if you're interested in being part of this. And we hope to have a very, very successful event. Last summer, June 1st, it was 95 degrees, and no one was really there. It was just so hot, and our Colonial Park is the most used park in all of Somerset County, and no one was there. So we're going into May this time. Hopefully we won't hit on such kind of weather, but we'll keep our fingers crossed. So please join us. I will remind you again, there will be other events. We're looking at perhaps doing a first night event next year for Franklin Township. Lots of great ideas. Please become active with us and support us in this process. And that's a brief comment to Mr. Tibbs's comment about our taxes. I realize taxes are never anything anyone likes. In fact, I get the sense most people would rather that we pay them, but unfortunately, we need the tax to sustain us. Having just gotten off the election trail, I can tell you that came up more times than I wish. But I want you to know that Franklin has one of the lowest tax rates in the county and in some of our neighboring counties. We are very, very conscientious. We watch everybody's dollar as if it is our own. So yes, I realize taxes are an issue, but recognize we are very careful in our fiduciary responsibility. And one last thing, I read an article about how quickly one can get frostbite in this kind of weather. It's not anything to be cavalier about. If you don't need to go out, don't go out. And if you do go out, make sure you are very protected, because it doesn't take very long for you to suffer from frostbite. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now, our township manager, Robert Vornlocker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to comment about the portrait that was unveiled today. Both Councilwoman Francois and Councilman Prasad mentioned that there was a process involved in that particular portrait that I don't know that everyone fully appreciates here. There were not many color photographs of Dr. King taken during his life. And we searched high and low across the country to try to find a portrait, a photograph suitable for framing here in our council chambers. And when we couldn't find one, and I think credit is due here, when we couldn't find one, Councilman Prasad personally found an artist and had that artist render that portrait. That's not a photograph. While it may appear to be a photograph, that is a work of art. And that was rendered and funded fully by Councilman Prasad. So I think that credit is certainly due to Councilman Prasad. It is a somewhat special piece of art there on our wall. So I just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I wasn't going to say much, and even when a councilman here started saying things, I figure I'm not even going to be answering. But then when how I conduct myself with confidential matters is questioned, I said, okay, I got to say something. Frankly, I'm really tired of the nonsense, because I really, in the decade as mayor, worked well with just about every council person here. And, don't say things like, oh, gee, if you talk about something in private, you can't, tell something that we've said in private, then you can't trust. You haven't spoken to me in years, so outside the meeting. So don't start in things like that. And not to go into it, but if someone says F you to me, and I've said it in the wrong context, then please come out and tell me exactly why you want me to do something anatomically not quite possible, and in what context you're leveling that at me, and that's fine.
Mr.
And my
Mayor,
final-
you've used that with me. You've spoken that way to me also.
And as a final, I don't even want to go on with that. I want to go back to doing the work here. But as a final comment, I want to say, and you're going to have to find out why I say this yourself. If you have HBO or you know someone who has it, watch the first 2 minutes of Admissions, and you'll see why I'm suggesting such a thing. See if you recognize anything. And
It was on this weekend.
that's all for now. So now we come to item 10A about our new township website and our manager, Mr. Vornlocker.
Again, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have our IT director here, Justin Hyman. This project started actually before I became township manager. It's been a labor of love, we'll say, Justin. It came out of the IT steering committee, which along with staff is Councilman Kramer and Councilwoman Francois. This process has been long, and it's, I know, been anticipated not only by council and members of the public, but also by myself and staff. And it went live, I don't know, when did I tell you last night? About 10 o'clock last night?
About 10:30, I
10:30
think I
last
texted
night
you,
was
yeah.
the text message that I said, go ahead and flip the switch. So it went live last night. I'm very proud of the efforts that were put in by all of our staff members throughout the township and the council members who were sat on this committee and worked through the bid process and going through a number of different iterations as we work through this. And I think that what the public will see is a very, very useful tool for them. And the township will have a much better platform to get information out to the residents and business owners here and visitors, too, to the town. So I'll let Justin take it over.
Thanks. So it's not often that the IT department gets to come out here and give a tool that residents can actually touch and put their hands on. So it's kind of exciting for us to have something that the residents can put their hands on and actually use, as opposed to our staff or our department. So here is our new township website. As the manager said, sometime late last night it started to show up on people's desktops. So what I'm going to do today is briefly, I don't want to be logged in while I do this, is kind of briefly give you a quick tour of it and show you some of the new features that our residents can use, the things that they can take advantage of. And really the goal here was twofold. One, to modernize the website, give it a new look and feel, something that was really representational of our community. The second thing that we wanted to do was really find a way to let residents use this to get the information they wanted quickly, easily, and the way that they wanted to do. That was really kind of our two, I think, main goals as we set out to do this. And I think hopefully we've done that. So I'm going to, like I said, walk you through the homepage and some of the more interesting features that our residents can use, and also show you two new aspects that we can use to reach our residents. Every page, this header will be the same. These are some very new features that I think residents will find useful. The first one is a staff directory. We've never had a full listing of our entire staff online before. So now we have a very easily searchable database of everybody's name and phone number, and also a way to reach them via email. Job postings. This has been one of these areas that it used to get very stale very quickly. You would find job postings that we had already filled. Just communication with our previous webmaster wasn't always the best. Now we have something that we can control in-house, and that goes for this entire website, is controlled now by my department. But also something that corresponds with our business process. So when we know that a job posting comes down 2 weeks from the posting date or 2 months from the posting date or whatever it might be, the website will follow through with that automatically. So, and again, you'll see every one of our pages that have some sort of interactive component have some sort of filter. Now, right now, these are the only two jobs that we have available, so that's why those are the only two categories you see. But if there was, all of our departments had it, all of our departments would be listed. But the idea being that residents who only care about one area or one, maybe they only want to see the construction department jobs, they can do that. So it's really a tailored situation, very interactive and very purpose-driven. Municipal codes will bring you out to our code book that we've had for a while. I'm not going to spend some time there. This is another really new and kind of purpose-driven portion of the site. This is our FAQ site. And you'll see this throughout the website. Some departments have their own FAQs. This is the main township FAQ. They're fully integrated. One of the great things about this website is that our old website had a habit of, if we wanted to display something in two different places, or we wanted to provide it to two different departments, there was two different copies of that. And that meant that two different copies had to be updated, and that caused us a lot of problems down the road. Somebody would forget to take it down, somebody would forget to update it, so we'd have two copies of information that were out of date or incorrect. This website eliminates all that. So residents can come here for what our staff have identified as frequently asked questions. And I have asked every department head and every staff member to kind of think of these over the next couple months, so we keep to develop this database over time, so that the residents who call, if we get 5 calls a week on, is there a way to reduce my cable bill, residents can find a way to find that here without having to call and pick up the phone, and they can get the answer themselves. It's a modern FAQ, just like you would find on any modern website. One of the things that the manager and I think, talked about a few times on the old website was one central location. How do you get here? Where are our buildings? What are the phone numbers for all of our departments? All those kinds of things. So we made sure that we developed a very simple FAQ. It integrates with Google Maps. We have a general contact form for the township, again, the municipal staff directory, and the township council directory, which links back to your council directory. So no matter who you're looking for, within reason, you should be able to find them from that contact page. And again, that was a major goal, was to try to make this easy for residents to find what they needed. The last feature was an accessibility feature. I'm going to try to use this. That was lacking in the old site. And this was really a necessity in a modern site, but we did not have it before, which is a translate feature. This translate feature, I'll show it to you briefly, integrates with Google Translate. And so we have the wealth of Google Translate languages. You can see there's quite a few up here. So regardless of what our residents speak now, they will be able to utilize our website for information. And that was something that was very important to me.
What language was that?
That is Filipino.
That's the Meadows down there.
Bandwidth.
Yeah, the graphic designers at Vision Internet, who's the company who we contracted with, I gave them a whole bunch of photos that we had around the township. For whatever reason, they felt the colors of the back porch of the Meadows, the Van Wickle house, served a purpose. So on a lot of our pages, you'll see that. They'll get cycled out over time, but for now, you'll see that as a overarching feature. Site search is Google Site Search. It's the leading technology in site search technologies. It will, however, I have one caution to everybody, and this hopefully those listening at home heed this warning as well. For about the next week or so, Google is going to take some time to reindex our site. So if you search on Google for Franklin Township Police Department, you may see a link to the old site, you may see a link to the new site. You can't fight Google on this one. So as they reindex our site, and we're doing everything we can to help that along, this will eventually work fantastic, but for the time being, it's a little buggy, and there's just not much we can do about that. We've greatly, you can see here, we have this new banner here, one of our historic sites, along with the seal of the township behind. This also doubles as a home button. But we wanted to reorganize the way that we provide the information to the residents. And what we had a goal here was to make sure that we give the information to the residents in the way that they want to find it. Not the way that we think they should find it, which is the way that we used to do it, but in any which way that they might want to find it. So the manager and our smaller committee, along with myself and members of my staff, put together these menus so that regardless of how you think the information should be there, it's there. About Franklin and what's new are kind of new areas. About Franklin had always been there on the old site. What's new is a lot of the new features. Township News I'll get to in a bit, as well as our new social media presence and the calendar. But these are some new features, and this is an ever-changing area. You see right now the Park and Restoration Needs Assessment is up there. If there's a new piece of new document or a new report or just a new hot topic that is of interest to our residents, it will find its way to that menu. Government is what you would expect. This is all of the council information. That was on the previous site. All of our departments are listed. And this is every single one of our departments. Previously, some departments didn't have a home on the web. I can tell you IT was never listed before, but we're a department and we should be listed. Tax dollars pay for us. So, I don't know why that was, but we corrected that. So, so every single department has a home now, and it's a very consistent. Let's go to the clerk's office. Since Anne Marie's here, I'll pick on her. But it's a very consistent look and feel. Menus on the left correspond to different areas. You can see Anne Marie has all of her licenses up there. Voter information, the different areas that our departments cover. You don't have to go searching through a 5-page long list of links to find this. If you're only looking for voter information, it will pop up and you can go there. And every department page behaves that same way with a submenu on the left and the main information in the center. Boards, commissions, and committees work the same way, and again, we have cleaned this up. A large portion of the effort that we spent with this over the last 2 months, really, was focused on content. Vision Internet, they're the professionals. We pay them to do the design and the organization. We really had to provide the content, and the content on the old site was, to be honest, lacking. It was out of date in some cases. It was just missing in other cases. So we spent time with each and every department head to sit down and scour through every bit of information that was on this website. So we know that it's up to date. We know that it's the right information. We know that it's what's supposed to be there. So we start from ground zero with the right information from this point forward. Government access is also there for those who want the schedule. And then residents and businesses and I want to, this is where we get into the area of how do I find the information? Am I a resident? Well, this is probably what pertains to you most. It's not everything, but it's the top pages that pertain to residents. If I move across to businesses, likewise, this is the top pages that pertain to businesses. I Want To is another one of these menus that's going to evolve over time. As our staff comes to us and say, hey, 6 times a day I got a call for X, we'll make an I Want To for it. And so, if you want to apply and register for a firearms permit, you may not know that the police department handles that, but this menu will help you figure that out. Okay. Another major way to get folks the information they want is via a push kind of technology. In other words, email is the way that we used to do this. And the way the email system used to work on the old site was no matter what it was, no matter whether you cared about it or not, you would get the update as we send it out. So you might get an update about a township council agenda, an open space event, and recreation's pumpkin patch all in one big email. But you may not care about 2 of those 3 things. The new e-notification system is a tailor-driven system. Residents can subscribe to what they want. They can subscribe to everything if they like. They can just subscribe to recreation events if they like. And again, giving them the information that they want as they want it. The other major sections of the homepage, we have latest news and upcoming events. These are the most recent news items and the most recent or most near upcoming events, what's about to happen. And this is dynamically driven from the site. Nobody has to do this. As we enter the events, the site knows that the very next thing to happen was this council meeting. So that's on top. And tomorrow that'll move aside and make room for something else that's going to happen without myself or my staff having to do anything. So again, making sure that the most up-to-date information is there for visitors to the site. Same thing with news. This works exactly the same way. As we put out news stories, they will pop up here within the time frames that they are most recent. As I put a new one in, the oldest one will pop out.
Just, yeah, Bill de Blasio became mayor in New York. He made a major point about plowing of the streets and having it available on his New York City website as to what streets were being plowed and all that. And I know the software exists. I don't know what it's going to cost or whatever, or GPS or whatever. But
it's something that we've talked about internally and explored different costs. It's not an inexpensive thing. I will tell you because
when I was on Public Works, we had discussed it too.
Yeah, and it continues to be discussed. But certainly our site could support it to display the information properly. But that's a whole backend application that I know the manager and the Public Works director and my department have had ongoing conversations with, but because of the, there's an equipment cost and a whole myriad of costs that are associated with that. But the good news about this site is that it will integrate with applications outside of it to give the users one cohesive experience.
Great.
So the last area on the homepage that I'm going to spend a little time on is in the Spotlight. In the Spotlight was designed to give residents one place to go for the most pressing information or the most current hot topic. Right now, we have 4 of them up there, the upcoming Martin Luther King breakfast, and a lot having to do with the website. We want to promote our new social media presence. The Township reorg meeting was here as well. And I'm going to click on this to show you ways in which we can leverage the new technologies to give people different kinds of experience. So this was just a brief article about the reorg that happened on the 1st, but we were also able to embed the video directly in there. It's YouTube, so any mobile device can play it. And again, this is about giving residents the information the way that they want to view it. People don't want to just read stories anymore. They want to see it. They want to experience it. And this new platform allows us to do that in a much more cohesive fashion. So. The last thing I want to talk about today is coinciding with this website. One of the areas that we knew we were behind a bit in was the area of social media. We know that residents want their information in one spot, whether it be Facebook or Twitter. There's a lot less behavior on the internet of, let me go find this piece of information from NJ.com, let me go find this piece of information from the Township, let me go find this piece of information of this silly video on YouTube. People don't do that anymore. They want it all in their Facebook feed or all in their Twitter feed or what have you. So we know that we have to, we needed to get involved with this, and coinciding with the launch of this website, we've also launched our official Township Facebook feed page and our official Township Twitter feed. These are directly integrated with everything that goes on the site. So there's one piece of information, but it gets blasted out amongst multiple channels, again, the way the residents want to get it. So if they want to get it via Twitter, they can do that. If they want to come to our Facebook site, our homepage to do that, they can do that. If they want to go to Facebook, they can do that. And again, it all drives things right back to the website. So this is the same article I just showed you regarding the reorg. Little tweet went out about it, and if I click that link, it brings me back to that same article. One piece of information that gets pushed out amongst multiple channels so that people can get the information, again, however they want and however they choose, but it allows us as Township staff and officials to reach more people in more ways. So those are the highlights. Obviously, this site can do a heck of a lot more. One other homepage feature, which the manager just pointed out to me I missed, were these homepage buttons. These are the areas that we felt as a committee were the most important and the most used areas. Now these can change over time as well, but we do have a few. The government payments, recreation and events brings you right to the Parks and Recreation page, which has, I have to say, had the most information probably on the old site and continues to have a wealth of information. I spent a lot of time with Alice and her staff refining this. Citizen Request Portal is our spatial data logic system. This is the same portal that it's always been, although it does have a major update coming in the next 2 months. Going down to the bottom, how are we doing corresponds with the manager's new customer service initiative. This is an online form that residents can fill out. It's right on our homepage, and they can go provide feedback about their interactions with the town. So whether it's in person, on the phone, email, or other, the date, who they interacted with, and then some ratings. This goes directly back to the township manager, and this is a part of his customer service initiative. But again, it's right there on the homepage so that anybody who interacts with us can provide that feedback at any time with one of them. Resident and traffic advisories corresponds with our news program. There are none right now, so this is blank. But if we need to close a road or provide an advisory to residents about something in particular, it would show up here. And sign up for notifications is something that's, again, very important to us to make sure that people do that. This is the new e-notification system. And the buttons down the bottom correspond with our various social media sites, and we want people to take advantage of that if they choose to. Our Facebook feed, our Twitter feed, simple RSS, our YouTube channel, which has been up for about a year now, and the old standby of email. So that's it in a nutshell. Obviously, there's a whole lot going on here, and we're going to continue to develop this over the next few months, but we feel like this is a huge jump ahead from where we were. And we already see residents responding. Even today, it's been online. We've already gotten some positive feedback from residents. I've been tracking. The other thing that this does on the back end for us is it gives us a lot more insight into how people are using the site. We're using a lot more of analytic tools to see what people are doing with the website so that we can adjust on the fly. If we see that a lot of people are delving into something that we didn't think they were, we can bring that out to the forefront much quicker and much easier. And we've already seen a ton of use of the new site even today with just the 1 day of launch.
All I can say is wow. Wow.
Mayor?
Yeah, Councilman Vasanella? Questions for?
Yeah, a couple of quick questions. Do you have the department, when they click on first looking for staff, is it alphabetical and by department they could find them?
Yep, so our staff directory, so if you know somebody's last name, you could click the letter of their last name. I'll pick on myself. So this is everybody with the last name of H. And if you know that they work in the IT department, I can filter just to IT department. And there happens to be two of us with the last name of H who work in the IT department, but that would filter that way. So yes, they can. Again, it's really about, if you know just one piece of information, I just need to reach somebody in the construction office. I thought his name was Bill. You can pull up everybody who works in the construction office and see a full list of them and say, oh, this is the guy who was at my house last week.
No, that's excellent. That's excellent. And what about the individual committee, historical committee, environmental commission? I know a lot of those groups have their own websites. Some of them kind of use ours. It was like a hybrid. How do people, what do they do to find out about the different organizations?
To my knowledge, and I think the manager feels the same way, any official committees of the township have a presence on the website and have had one. Whether it was kept up to date was another thing entirely, but that's part of that, bringing that in-house control into my department.
So how would they go on the new one to find?
So the boards and commissions and committees will come through my office, their chairs or their staff liaisons. If they have a staff liaison, the staff liaison can directly manipulate the site through the normal workflow process and approval process that is in place. If they don't have a staff liaison, some of our committees, the smaller committees that don't, they will filter their information to my office, just like they used to filter to our old webmaster, and my staff and I will handle those updates for them. So we are now the webmasters, just like Morris and Yard at City Connections used to be. But our staff in-house also have the ability to get directly involved into the process, so kind of distribute the work a bit and get things up there faster and quicker and easier.
And you don't have to go in a lot of detail, but is there any census info or budget info on here?
There is some general info under general information. There's also some info on the economic development site that's Tiffany Delaney's in the process of updating for us. But we do have some general census info.
The budget's on there, though, right?
Oh yeah, the budget's on here. Yeah, that's on the finance page.
Excellent. So the only thing I'm going to mention, not to be picky, but I know when I go sometimes I look for a town and there's several in the state, I don't realize if I'm in, I don't know if it's just here, but if Somerset County could look a little bigger, hopefully people will be trying to find us from all over the state. I'm not trying to nitpick, that just jumped out at me.
Yeah.
I looked at it real quick this morning.
We made sure that
I
was
thought
there.
maybe I didn't have a big enough screen, but I'm thinking if,
Yeah, we can look into that a little bit. We do have a lot of things on the back end in the search capabilities to make sure that when people look for Franklin Township, Somerset County, Township of Franklin, they find us.
oh, okay. I'm not asking you to redesign it. I just want people that are looking for us to be able to find us.
That's a
And there's
graphic.
4
That's
other
a little bit-
Franklin websites.
Yeah, a little bit
Really.
hard to do, but on the technical end, we've put a lot of safeguards in place.
It does, it's a beautiful site, though. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, Councilwoman Sherman.
Yes. Obviously, I'm thrilled. It's wonderful to see us in a modern website that represents the township in a way that we can all be proud of. And congratulations to your staff and everyone else who was part of this. I would like to suggest one thing. The township, the municipal complex is a confusing place to people who don't know it. Could we put a municipal map, the site map on there? We also need some signs one of these days, but if at least we had a map of where all the buildings were, I think it would be very useful.
Yeah, I can work with the GIS department. And
Actually,
get
we
it.
have one.
Oh, we have.
We have one. That's actually an excellent idea. And what we can do is put it in. And if you go to when you went to the contact us page, there we go. So yeah, exactly. So we can do it. We can do a link, a hyperlink in that area
Good.
that will bring you to a map, which is we want people to be able to find us physically as well as our online
Yeah,
presence.
absolutely.
One thing before we get into more questions, I did fail to mention. I want to mention because it's really important to me and to all of us. This site is also fully mobile compliant. So from all mobile devices, regardless if you access it from a desktop, an iPad, or your cell phone, the website will resize itself and display. I'm going to kind of simulate this for you. That's about the size of an iPad, for lack of a better term. So you can see the site resizes. All the stuff is still there. It's just reorganized a bit to work better on an iPad. And this is about the size of a cell phone. And that's what it looks like on a cell phone. And just like most modern sites do, you can always go back to the full site. So I just wanted to throw that out there because that's another major change for us. The old site did not work on mobile devices at all.
Couple of thoughts, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, Councilman Prasad?
Yeah. No, congratulations. This is, we've come a long way, and we've been talking about it for a long time. We do have other things like an online paper now in town, and possibly, if people want to get township news, they could have a link to it or whatever. Just resources where they can reach out, and also resources to how to reach their elected, county, state, and federal. That's there? Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, we
Okay.
do have that, and it is all up to date.
All the contact information and everything. Okay, great.
Whatever was available, and
Right.
as we get more, I know Emery gets updates on that. We'll make sure it's up to date.
Fantastic. No, it's come a long way, and so congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. Councilwoman Francois?
I just have to say, this is phenomenal. As a member of the IT committee, I know I kept saying, are we there yet? Or is it ready yet? So it was definitely well worth the wait. We didn't spend a ton of money, so I think we were very frugal about our approach. And I just think that there was an incredible amount of thought content that went into this. The website is analytical, it's user-friendly, it's interactive, it uses all the latest technology, and it's beautiful, it's fast. I like how fast it is. It's really, really fast, and, that means a lot in this day and age. So I don't have anything to nitpick. I think that, we can always refine as we go. We can always come up with more information, and we've had some good ideas here today. But I'd like to thank you, Justin, because I know through your leadership of the IT department, we would not be where we are today if it wasn't for you and your staff. Thank you so much for your hard work.
Thank you. And I do have
Greatly
to
appreciate it.
thank my staff. They really, this is a huge undertaking for us, and the township staff as a whole kind of came together to do this. All the departments did, but my two staff members especially really put a lot of time in, so I do have to thank them as well.
So I'm just going to chime in here because, and I appreciate you recognizing that, because his staff has worked tremendously hard on getting this done. In fact, Justin came in at about 6:30 and said, I need to go down to my office and send Krista home because she's in the office working on the website. So this has been something, and I can see it in the way he responds to things here, that the IT department is one of those departments that oftentimes only gets recognition internally because they generally work with our employees and they don't really get a chance to be out there in the public eye, and they don't have a whole lot of interaction with the public. And it's in this forum that they are able to do that. And it's in this forum that they have shined. And I'm very proud of them all. So they have put in a tremendous effort.
Incredible. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Councilman Chase?
Well, as I emailed you earlier, it's lovely. I'm sure I will spend days exploring it to figure out all of the things that you've just hit the high spots of all of the functions. I did see a complaint from Tom Gale of the Historic Preservation Advisory Commission that he wasn't able to access old minutes. Are we going to be able to access old minutes of the various commissions?
So depending on, let's go look at historic so I can give you an educated answer. Depending on what was on the old website, we did move over some. I will tell you that from a site management standpoint, having 10, 12 years worth of old committee agendas on there is not really a great idea. And that's not to be less transparent or open about anything, but when somebody sees stuff from 2003 on there, they tend to think, you don't keep your site up to date. This isn't a new site. This isn't up to date. So we are keeping the current year plus 2 years, and we can certainly extend that back farther. But for the time being, to get the new site up and running and to get it to where it needed to be, that was the goal that we set, was 2 years plus the current year. So historics are up here.
I would think that that's all that most people would require.
Yeah, and we consulted with Amory on that to kind of see what OPA request comes through her office, so that we made sure we weren't putting more work on the clerk's office as well. So.
Anything else?
Yes.
Councilman Kramer?
Just minor thing. The, on the notifications page, I didn't see Advisory Board of Health. And then, of course, thank you. I know how I've been somewhat involved, and I know how hard you've worked, and it's been like your own child. But of course, so what have you done for me tomorrow? And you know the thing that I've been wanting, and I know you're going to work on it now, is live streaming of meetings, which you have cleverly figured out, you think, how to do it for nothing. So, but we needed this site to be able to do it. So hopefully that will come out soon. And that was, I know you were going to work out it. That was more letting the public know that that's coming.
Yeah, it definitely is coming. So.
Okay, anything else? Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate the effort and showing us here too. Excellent, excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Very nice.
They will submit it to the League of Municipalities for one of their communication awards.
Yeah, get an award, huh?
Okay, appreciate that. So we are now at item number 10C, Resolution 14-9, which is approving the 2014 annual compensation, Board of Fire Commissioners, Fire Districts number 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the fire districts, the 4 in town, each have their own Board of Commissioners, their elections, and their budgets, which are approved by the voters, all of which theirs are. However, the council is required to approve the compensation of the commissioners, and that's what this resolution will do. So is there a discussion or a motion for the resolution?
Mr. Mayor?
Oh, pardon me. Oh, Councilman, Deputy Mayor Regan, then Councilman Chase.
Thank you. So just on this item, this actually was a resolution that was included in the December resolutions. I asked it to be pulled at that point. I did notice that there was a salary increase for the commissioners of Fire District 3, roughly $200, pushing their salary, increasing their salary. In further discussions about that with the township manager, he informed me that, and I was aware of the fact that they submit a budget that was voted on. We have no control or authority over that. It's separate, just like a Board of Ed budget is. But technically, I still don't fully understand, but it has to come to council, and I'm sure our township attorney can explain why, that we have to pass on this, or we have to take action on this resolution, but technically it won't, we cannot stop the increase to the salary. That's my understanding. Okay.
Okay,
All right, so that's a good-
our town attorney, Mr. Raynone, do you want to answer for us?
The salaries actually require, of the Board of Commissioners, actually require your approval. So if you don't approve their salaries, the salaries are not paid.
Okay.
You don't approve their budget, but you do approve their salaries.
Okay, so then, just as a follow-up on that, so then, if they say that they submitted this as part of their budget, which I understand that that's going to be their response, that it was part of their budget which was approved, what is it? Is it part of something in the DCA statute, or what is it that it requires us to approve?
The statute says that the compensation for the Board of Commissioners requires the approval of the governing body.
Okay. And given that there are 4 districts and each of them have different salaries,
right?
Does council have the ability to say, we approve the salary for, District 1, 2, and 4, and not for 3?
Yes.
Thank you.
As far as I understand, there's not a restriction on how it is that you exercise that authority.
Thank you.
Okay, Councilman Chase?
Well, I've been somewhat concerned about this, partly because I had a constituent email me who was really complaining about how little notice there is of the fire district budget votes. And in fact, the budgets of which these salaries will be part have not yet been voted on by the people, all 20 or so who actually vote. But it's like the third Saturday in February that the fire district budgets are voted on. There's very little publicity of this. I think something does appear on the township website to that about it, but the question is, can you remember to go and vote on it? And if you do remember to go vote on it, what do you know about what they're doing? Now, our clerk has very kindly put up what the salaries have been for the last 15 years, and over that period of time, I see that the salaries for Districts 1 and 3 have tripled, and for District 2 have doubled. And that seems to me more than the rate of inflation over that, the rise in the cost of living over that period of time. And fundamentally, I wonder how much time do the commissioners spend on actually being commissioners? I mean, obviously there's no criticism of what they do as firemen, but how much time do they spend being commissioners for these salaries? The Fire District 3 salary is now approaching the salary of the Township Council. And I know we have a lot of different committee meetings to go to, and I wonder if, I really don't know how much time they spend on being commissioners. Which is, I suppose, if I don't know, I shouldn't decry the salaries, but I'm wondering.
Okay. Anyone else on this, either questions or to move the resolution or a portion of it? Councilman Kramer?
My simple comment, actually, when I took over from Mr. Metler, he gave me two pieces of advice. The first was, never abstain, you'll just annoy both sides. And the other was that the fire departments are the third rail of Franklin Township politics. So if I may just touch it with my toe, kind of going along what was said, there isn't much notice of it. They do notice their lasagna dinners, and I would certainly appreciate if they just put on their signs that they have outside of almost all the firehouses where they advertise various functions, that they advertise for a week or so in advance that there's an election, and maybe have some material available inside, or maybe even have a special meeting, and they can advertise that special meeting where they'll go over their budget. In their defense, this is now probably 8 years ago when I was running Tough, Mr. Daley indicated that maybe this would be an issue I'd want to tackle. So I sat down and did some simple math, and the math at that time was for my home to be covered by a fire department was about, as I recall, $220 a year. Perhaps it's more now. I'm sure it's more now. And I thought for only an instant and said, if there was no fire department around, but there was a commercial vendor who would offer to put out a fire at my house should it start, and I'd pay them $225 a year retainer, I certainly would have paid that. So I think, and everyone agrees here, that they do, we need them. We are gratified for them being there, and we appreciate that they put themselves in harm's way for our defense, though I think it would benefit them and benefit the town if they did advertise when their elections are coming up, and maybe advertising a meeting that they're going to be talking about their budget. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Discussion or motion?
Mr. Mayor, I do have one question. Did I hear that their budget has not been passed yet?
That's correct.
So do we have the ability to approve their salaries if their budget has not been voted on and approved?
I'll leave it up to Lou, but.
It's got to be for 2014, right?
The salaries that are proposed in this resolution are those salaries that are proposed to be included in their budget, which will be voted on at the
Correct.
next election for 2014.
Correct.
So I guess the answer to that question is if you do not pass this resolution for one or more of the fire districts, then you as the governing body, according to the statute that I read, which is very simple, a very simple statute, then those salaries would not be authorized by you, the governing body of the township,
Correct.
which these fire districts exist.
Regardless of whether or not they're in the budget, because you don't really have any
Exactly.
control over what goes in their budget. It's subject to a referendum.
And I'm just going to chime in with one point regarding this, and I certainly understand Councilman Kramer's trepidation about dealing with the volunteer fire companies. I would just like to state that the fire commissioners are elected officials. There is no requirement to be a firefighter to be a fire commissioner, and it's the fire commissioners that simply control the budget under which the firefighters and the various volunteer fire companies serve as far as the acquisition of apparatus and equipment and how the actual fire company is outfitted and equipped. The fire companies themselves are independent of the fire districts. They are independent, incorporated entities that simply use the equipment that the fire districts fund. So there is a difference here, and the fact that they are elected officials and there is no requirement for those elected officials to have any connection whatsoever with any of the fire companies in that district that those commissioners would serve. So I don't know, that might be something. Firefighters don't get paid, no.
Okay, any other questions or a motion for the resolution or changes there too?
That kind of puts a whole different slant on the whole thing, to tell you the truth. I'm not sure what I want to suggest that we do about it. The first thing is see what other commissioners are paid and make sure that these people are in line. But I'm not sure I'm going to press on that. If there's no other agreement with it, we'll go ahead and vote.
Mr. Mayor?
Oh, Deputy Mayor Regan and then.
All right, so I'll take
Francois.
the bold step, and we'll have to deal with whatever comes from it. So I'll make a motion that council amend the resolution to approve the salaries for fire districts 1, 2, and 4, and not for 3.
Okay, that's, okay, could I get just a clarification from you? Does that mean you want 3 to come back to us or to no on the increase in 3, just so I know where you're coming from?
I guess, yeah, and I have a further question. Is that you're not approving any salary for commissioners in 3?
Oh, so, good point. Okay, so, Mr. Mayor, sorry.
Yes, no, go ahead.
Clarification. So, I guess the motion would be then to approve the salaries at the 2013 level that they had. So therefore, not giving the increase to Fire District 3 what they requested in 2014. So everybody would get paid a salary, because I didn't want there to be any confusion on that. I'm not saying not salary. I'm just saying hold their salaries at the 2013 level. That would be my motion.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, yes, Councilwoman Francois?
So if you look at the resolution, Fire District 3, there is no increase from 2013 to 2014. It's $7,428 for 2014, and it's $7,284. So it's a $4 increase. So we're basically saying we're not going to approve a $4 increase, or am I looking at the wrong thing?
No,
There's
so-
a memo
200.
So it's
284,
284.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's flipped.
Yeah, $204.
So it's about a $200, $140, less than $200 raise. But
Well,
it's an increase.
So I wanted to make a comment. I know these are elected positions, but these people do give of their time and their talent. And every year, these salaries come to us for approval. And every year, there's this debate why District 1 is different than District 2, which is different than District 3 and District 4. And we've always gotten feedback from the commissioners why they set their salaries. And I'm a little baffled why, if they're presenting us with their budget, we really don't have the knowledge to understand everything that's behind why they submit these numbers. So in past years, because these are people who give of their time and their talent, I've always been agreeable to whatever budgets they submit, honor their requests. That's always been my position.
That's fine.
Okay, so is there, that was the motion. Is there a second to that or further discussion?
A second.
I'll second that
Okay,
motion.
so there's a second. Councilman Kramer, you want to?
So just
discuss?
procedurally, perhaps we could divide it up into two votes, 1, 2, and 4, and then a separate vote on 3? Because, so if I disagree with Mr. Regan and I vote no, then I'm voting no against all of the salaries. So,
You could certainly, split the question, certainly, divide the question.
right, so since he seems to have no problem with 1, 2, and 4, why don't we vote on 1, 2, and 4, and then we can vote separately on 3?
Deputy Mayor Regan, you okay with that, or?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, moved in the seconders, okay? Okay, so we'll take the two pieces then for now. So let's,
Divide the question. First, do 1, 2, and 4, and then
Okay.
do 3.
so the first part, and Deputy Mayor Regan, tell me if I'm not saying this properly. We'll take 1, 2, and 4. The salaries are the same as the prior year, and just vote on those to start, okay? Okay, and that was for, I think, Councilman Sherman seconded that, may have been? Someone over there did. Okay, so is there any other discussion on that, just 1, 2, and 4? Okay, if not, Ms. McCarthy, please pull the council on the resolution for the compensation for fire districts 1, 2, and 4, which is at the same level as the prior year, please.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Kramer?
Yes.
Mayor Levine?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Regan?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Okay, now I'll come back. So, Deputy Mayor Regan, we're now take Fire District 3. I guess your motion is to pay them 7,284, which is the amount from the prior year?
Correct.
Okay. Is there discussion on that? And just to ask a question, because Councilwoman Francois said, had we had fire commissioners come in the past to tell us why they were asking what they're asking?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We have. Do you want?
Since I've been on council,
Okay.
since the last time that I've came
Okay.
on.
There have been times they've come in.
So just tossing it out, we can vote on this. Do you want them to explain it, or just have the vote and that's the end of it?
I think it would be nice if they come in. I can tell you, I have got input from other fire commissioners in other fire districts who have expressed their concern about the rate of increase over the years in Fire District 3, and they're concerned that by their rates increases, that they're, all the other districts are being looked at, and there's concern about that. So I know that there is concern from other fire districts relative to the increase of salary in Fire District 3. But yes, so, I don't know how we can structure this. Is to hold on that until they come in or present a memo. I'm fine with it.
Okay, since you were starting it, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, just ask me what you like. Vote on it now, or we could table it till the next meeting, invite them to come to speak. ask Mr. Raynone if I'm going okay.
You
along
you
this line.
certainly can do either of
Okay.
those. It's within council's authority.
So I'm fine with that.
Okay, so the motion then is table
Table 3.
till next week, invite a representative to come and tell us why they're increasing, and I guess why they're at a different rate than the others. And then come back as a council discussion item, and I guess we'll let them speak at that point. Okay?
Yes, because just as an FYI, right, Fire District 3 is not the largest fire district in the town. So they're not the one with the most houses or companies, yet their commissioners, exceed the salary of others by far, or by a what some may deem a significant amount. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so whoever seconded it, is that okay with you
Yes.
two?
Yes, that's
Okay.
fine.
So motion, basically, not basically, table the Fire District 3 till next week, and we'll hear till next meeting. Okay. Fine. No other discussion? Ms. McCarthy, please pull the council on the motion to table, please.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Kramer?
Yep.
Mayor Levine?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Regan?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Good. Okay, so we'll come back, see that next week. Thank you very much. Good discussion and thought on that. Next, we have 10C, amend the 2014 Township Council meeting schedule, January 21st, 2014 to January 28th, 2014. Ms. McCarthy, you want to help us with that?
Yeah, actually, you don't have to change it if you don't want. It was listed incorrectly because I'm so used to adding 14 days to whatever the first meeting is in January. And since we made the first one this month on the 7th, when I added 14 days, I got the third week, which was 21, instead of the fourth week as 28. So either we can leave it as 21st, or we can move it where it usually is on the fourth Tuesday, the 28th.
Okay.
It's up to the council.
All right, so if we do nothing, it stays on the 21st. Anyone have feelings one way or the other? Councilman Chase?
Well, I would have a reason for moving it to the 28th because I'm the council representative to the Open Space Committee, which normally meets on the third Tuesday of the month.
Okay, any other
Second.
feelings?
If that's a motion, I'll
Yep.
second that. in
Yeah.
Deference to
that
Mr.
Works for me.
Okay, we'll take that as a motion and a second. Any other discussion? We can,
It is the,
yeah, Councilman Vasanella?
no, so you want to have it on the 28th?
I would prefer to have the council meeting on the 28th.
It's done by resolution.
Right.
Done by resolution. Yeah, it's a resolution.
Okay. Getting parliamentary points from our attorney, Mr. Raynone, and then the deputy mayor. Okay, any other discussion? Okay, Ms. McCarthy, please poll the council on the change of our second January meeting from January 21st to January 28th, please.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
I was actually hoping it would be on the 21st, but I'll say yes.
Councilman Kramer?
Yes.
Mayor Levine?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Regan?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Just want to say, I actually did schedule something the 28th. I'll try to reverse it, but I'll vote yes, and that's fine, we'll move it. I just, as a warning, I may not be here on the 28th.
Okay, so thank you. So an item that was,
Work it out.
I'm looking at our, did I miss our single stream recycling item? I don't see him.
He wasn't
Okay.
here, so.
Okay, yeah, I realized, okay, on the new agenda, that was first, okay. So we're going to be speaking about Somerset County single stream recycling, basically everything in one place. However, I guess we'll hold that till next meeting, we're going to get a presentation on that. So, next we have our 10E, 2014 Standing Committee Calendar. I'll go to our Deputy Mayor, Brian Regan.
Following up from the agenda meeting, Anne Marie needs to set the calendar, so this kind of just is a notification to all the council members. You know what subcommittees you're on, so quickly, meet to either confirm that the meeting date that you had in 2013 is still good. Like finance is the fourth Monday of the month, and it's the same committee members. So at this point, I'm assuming we're going to stay the same. But to get that information to Anne Marie, we don't need to discuss in detail here.
Actually, it should go to me.
Oh,
My
sorry,
office
Bob.
schedules all of the
Okay.
standing
So to
committees.
Bob, and if everyone can do that, is next Tuesday fine? Having that by next Tuesday?
That would be wonderful. And I guess in committees that have had some changes, which there have only been some minor changes, perhaps there could be some back and forth among the committee members. I know that's already happened with Public Works, and I guess really land use has a minor change, and admin has a minor change. If there could just be some, and get back to me, then on Wednesday of next week, we can put out all the meeting notices for the calendar year so that everyone has them in their Outlook calendars.
Okay, Councilman Chase?
Well, Public Works doesn't meet every month. It meets when Tom Zelenik says we need to have a meeting, basically, or I suppose if committee members wanted to have a meeting, but it's not something that we have scheduled as you got to meet whether you have anything to cover or not.
And while I certainly understand that, and I've attended a number of those Public Works Committee meetings, I think that as we move into this upcoming year, there are a number of projects that are of some time demand from staff. We have the water main project in Little Rocky Hill, as well as some others. And while I certainly understand that we might not tie it to a monthly meeting, I might suggest maybe we go to an every other month meeting like we do with public safety. And I've spoken to Tom actually today. What our newest member of Public Works is Councilman Kramer. And I saw that there were some emails that went back and forth among some of the members of Public Works over the last 2 days. Tom is available on Fridays. I know that that's generally a day that's available to Councilman Kramer, as well as then also Councilwoman Sherman and yourself, Dr. Chase. And I'm telling you that there are emails that have gone back and forth, Councilman. And what I would say is, like I said in the beginning of this conversation, a conversation among the 4 council members on each standing committee would be beneficial to me in getting out schedules. So if we can have that by Tuesday, yeah, that would be fantastic, because we have committee meetings that would be then coming up. We're about to enter into the third week of the month, and we start to look at some of these meetings are scheduled, admin and financial oversight specifically, as well as land use.
Okay, good. So forward that with the schedules together.
We just need to get your movement to say yes.
From Kramer.
Okay, so if we're okay, we'll go into item number 11, approval of the minutes.
Yeah, I didn't get any emails. I'd like to be included.
The minutes of the Township Council Work Session Regular Meeting of December 10th, 2013, held at 7 p.m., are presented to the Township Council. There's a motion for the aforesaid minutes approved as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
Moved, second. Ms. McCarthy, please poll the council on the minutes of December 10th, 2013, please.
Councilman Chase.
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois.
I have to abstain. I was sick that night. I didn't attend.
Councilman Kramer.
Yes.
Mayor Levine.
Yes.
Councilman Prasad.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Regan.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman.
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella.
Yes.
Okay, motion is carried. Next, we have approval of the warrants. The warrants are the bills that we pay, so warrants in the amount of $4,124,487.87 on January 7th, 2014 are presented to the Township Council for payment. Is there a motion to pay the warrants as read?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Madam Clerk, please poll the council on payment of the warrants.
Councilman Chase.
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois.
Yes.
Councilman Kramer.
Yes.
Mayor Levine.
Yes.
Councilman Prasad.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Regan.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman.
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella.
Yes.
Okay, motion is carried.
Mr. Mayor.
Oh, yes, Deputy Mayor Regan, please.
Thank you. If I could just, since I was attending the Sewage Authority meeting as a commissioner, and that's why I was late. I'd just like to make a brief, I guess, council comment.
Sure.
It's really an announcement. I received communication from Representative Holt's office announcing their upcoming community office hours for all the towns or municipalities within his area. So Congressman Rush Holt's staff will be available to assist residents who are having problems with Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, the VA's U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, or any other federal agency. Staff will also be available to provide information on federal grants and contracts, acquiring flags flown over the U.S. Capitol, and more. Their office hours will be 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., and on February 20th, they will be at the Franklin Township Public Library, right here in our municipal complex. If for some reason there are urgent issues and you cannot wait to that point, you can always call 187-RUSH-HOLT, which is 1-877-874-4658. Thank you very much.
What
Okay.
time?
Thank you very much for that.
What time on the 20th?
5 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Okay, thanks for that. Good update.
Can we each get an 800 number for our names?
I just said, that's pretty neat. I mean, I don't know. Well,
You can.
I'll see about
But
that.
technically, that's my old business. So yes, every individual person can go get their.
Brian Regan, 1-8 Phil.
We-
you know what?
everybody could do that.
You know, then we won't have to have the nameplates with the phone numbers.
Okay, for 1-800 Robert Bornlocker, you're going to need a lot of.
Too many
numbers.
numbers.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we come to item 13, public hearing adoption of ordinances on second reading. Ordinances usually go into law after 2 votes. There's 1 vote, and then usually the next meeting, there's a second vote. At that second vote,
Yeah.
there's a public hearing, meaning people can speak on that particular ordinance, and generally about 20 days after that, it goes into law. So we do not have any public hearings and second readings today. We do have 2 introductions and first readings.
Mayor,
Yes,
just so you know, you need to
Ms.
change the second reading date in your notes to January 28th.
oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
The clerk is telling me she is actually very kind in providing me with kind of a script of where we're going, and in there it tells the date of the meetings. So she told me to change that to the 28th, so thank you very much for that. So for 2 ordinance introductions, the first 14A, ordinance number 4048-14, an ordinance of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, authorizing acceptance of drainage easement from Rook Easton Avenue Properties LLC, docket number ZBA 0900004. This is a drainage easement behind the Imperia for some construction which may come there. The foregoing ordinance is presented to the Township Council for adoption on first reading, posting, publication in accordance with law, and public hearing and final adoption on Tuesday, January 28th, thank you, 2014, at 7 o'clock p.m. here at the Municipal Complex. Is there a motion to introduce?
Motion to introduce.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Ms. McCarthy, please poll the council on item 14A, ordinance 4048-14, please.
Councilman Chase,
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois,
Yes.
Councilman Kramer,
Yes.
Mayor Levine,
Yes.
Councilman Prasad,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Regan,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman,
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella.
Yes.
Okay, motion is carried. Now, the second and last of our ordinance introductions is item 14B on the agenda, ordinance 4049-14. It's an ordinance of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, authorizing acceptance of drainage easement, same property owner, same LLC, Rook Cedar Grove Lane Properties LLC. No, that's wrong. It's a different LLC. I'm sorry. but same property. Docket number ZBA 09-00004. It relates to the same property. The first one was an easement to Easton Avenue. This one's an easement onto Cedar Grove Lane. Pardon me for the mistake. The foregoing ordinance is presented to the Township Council for adoption on first reading, posting, publication in accordance with law, and public hearing and final adoption on Tuesday, January 28th, 2014, at 7 o'clock p.m. here at the Municipal Complex. Motion to introduce?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Madam Clerk, please pull the council on item 14B, ordinance 4049-14, please.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois? Councilman Kramer?
Yes.
Mayor Levine?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Regan?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Okay, motion is carried. We now come to our consent agenda. Consent agenda are items of a generally routine nature that can be voted on at one point. It's any council person's prerogative to take something off for a second separate vote. So item 15, items A through AD, as listed on the consent agenda portion of this meeting, are presented to the Township Council for adoption. Is there a discussion or a motion for the consent agenda?
Motion for
Mayor.
the consent agenda.
Oh,
Right. Oh, go ahead.
Councilman Chase and Deputy Mayor Regan? Who's asking?
I had a question and a comment, and the comment was, I've looked at a lot of the tax appeal settlements, and it appears that our counsel for tax appeals has been doing a very good job, because most of these seem to be being settled at our original assessment. The question was, I just wanted to ask the manager, what's the story behind item A? Because there's obviously a story.
The story behind
The
item
crick-
A?
The old cricket
Yeah,
place.
Deputy
Oh,
Mayor.
I mean, the story is that liquor license was the license that was in place for the cricket on Elizabeth Avenue. The establishment closed. It was held by the former owner of the establishment, and it has to be renewed before it can be sold, and which is the intent of the current owner of that license, is to sell it. So he's going to renew it with the intent to sell it. That's why it's on the agenda the way it is. And I see my clerk shaking her head, which means I got that right. And so I'll leave it at that.
And we have a letter from the state saying we can do it.
Yes, because it's been inactive for over 2 years. and
Right.
It needed a special ruling from ABC to be renewed.
Okay. Deputy Mayor Regan?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just on item, I guess, AA, the pickup truck with snowplow, again, this is just a reminder to council and for information for our residents that this capital spending is actually part of our capital spending plan from 2013. It's not new spending or unapproved spending. It's actually part of the spending plan that we had in 2013. And I see our township manager nodding his head, so I got that right.
You did.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Councilman Kramer.
Just a comment on AC. If someone were to just read this, and actually if they read the accompanying information that was in the agenda, they won't understand it. The title reads Extended Fair and Open Extraordinary Unspecified Services Agreement. So just this was actually fair and open. I thought it said unfair and open. But the unspecified services, this is specifically for the open space consultant that we have. Her job title is her job responsibilities are very specified, but this is kind of a term of art. So we do know, this is not a slush fund hiring. She works very hard. She's done quite a bit of good work. This is the same position John Luce used to have. So we do know what we're talking about there. And then on AB, if someone were to read that, they could misread it. Recreation software, that's not, we're not buying video games. That's software for our recreation department to plan the use and the renting of fields, et cetera.
And just to chime in there, this is one of those pieces of software that will integrate with our website, and it is for the registration process for all of our recreation programs.
Thank you.
Now, just picking up on AC, was that amount going to change?
It is, that's the incorrect amount, and I have, the printed version says 63, your computers and iPads should say 65, which is the correct number. It should also say what Councilman Kramer initially said, which was non-fair and open, which it in fact is a non-fair and open as per the legal terminology. And just to take it one step further, the extraordinary, and it is extraordinary, unspecifiable services agreement is a legal term in the state of New Jersey to define this type of contract, which does not fall into the categories that are specifically defined by the state of New Jersey for contracts. So that's why it is an unspecifiable service, because this particular service is not specified as one that is defined by the state of New Jersey. So it's just very much a legal term.
And non-fair and open is a legal term. Every time you get a haircut and don't go out to bid, you are getting a non-fair and open contract with your barber. So this is someone we've done business with before, we know her, and there's no reason to go out and bid.
Correct.
We're not getting clipped.
We're not getting clipped.
And I might.
Very good, Councilman, very good.
And I might add that she keeps meticulous track of the hours that she spends on this work, and there's a report to the Open Space Committee every month, and I assume this report also goes to the manager.
It does.
Exactly what she's been doing, who the phone calls were to, and who she went
I will
to see, and
Just to echo what Councilman Chase just said, I review our consultant's bill every month, and to be honest with you, I think we get a pretty good bargain here. So, given the number of hours that I know that we don't get billed for.
Okay, so Councilman Prasad, I think you were about to move the consent agenda?
Yes.
Do you want to do that?
Second.
Okay, any other discussion? Ms. McCarthy, please poll the council on the consent agenda.
Councilman Chase.
yes.
Councilwoman Francois.
Yes.
Councilman Kramer.
Yes.
Mayor Levine.
Yes.
Councilman Prasad.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Regan.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman.
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella.
Yes.
Okay, motion is carried. So next we have item 16, resolutions voted on separately, of which we do not have any this evening. We come to item 17, old business, 2014 boards, commissions, and committee appointments. Ms. McCarthy gave us a list of open items. Are there any nominations for these open positions?
Mr. Mayor?
Councilman Kramer, then Councilman Chase.
Thank you, sir. Yes, I would like to nominate Bob Shepherd for the Board of Adjustment regular member, four-year term.
Second it.
No need to second nomination.
We didn't reappoint.
Okay.
We didn't reappoint him yet?
No.
Was this the position which he had held?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So Mr. Shepherd for Board of Adjustment, there it is, regular member. Any other nominations for that position? Okay. All in favor of Mr. Shepherd by acclamation, please say aye.
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 Opposed, abstained, motion is carried. Thanks again to Mr. Shepherd for coming back. Any other nominations?
Mr. Mayor?
Councilman Chase?
I'd like to nominate Cheryl Bergalo for the position of alternate 4 on the Board of Adjustment, since Pat O'Connell is very dubious about his ability to continue because he got a promotion at work. Ms. Cheryl Bergalo is, and you should have received her citizen leadership form, but she was a principal worker on the 1999 Township Master Plan and the lead consultant on the 2005-2006 master plan. So I joke that apart from our township planner and zoning officer, she's probably the best qualified person in the state to be on the Board of Adjustment. So I would like to nominate her for the Board of Adjustment.
Second, do we need a
Okay.
second?
Okay. And just to,
I don't-
jarring my memory, because I don't have her
I have.
resume. She was with Higher Gruel years ago? I think
She
that's the
was
right
with
person?
Higher Gruel in 1999. She was with Shure De Palma in 2005.
Okay, that's the same person that I'm, okay, thank
Same
you.
person.
All right, she's a resident here, huh?
And I was astounded to find that she's a resident, 23 Buffer Drive.
Okay, thank you for that. Any other nominations for this position? Okay, all in favor of Ms. Borgalia? I pronounced it right?
Bergale, no.
Okay, I was close, right? By acclamation, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion is carried. Thank you and congratulations to Ms. Borgalia. And,
Mr. Mayor?
Nice to have her back, Councilman
Yeah,
Kramer.
Anne Marie? Sharon
Yes.
Bushey,
I mean,
is that a
that's
typo?
that's a
That
typo,
last-
because we fixed it at the last meeting, I just didn't fix it on the, on
Okay.
that list.
Yeah, so she is
She's
already
on.
appointed.
Yes, she's been reappointed.
Yeah.
Okay, Councilman Kramer?
So when I stepped out of the meeting near the beginning, it was because Historic Commission, Historic Preservation Advisory Commission is meeting now, and they had an opening, and they wish Joanne Kaiser to be the Class C member. It just occurred to me, though, did we get a form from her, or she's been on it before, or?
She's been on it before, there's probably
Okay.
an
Yeah,
old
She's been
form.
on it before.
Okay, all right, then I'd like to nominate her for Class C member of the Historic Preservation Advisory Commission.
Okay. Nomination for Ms. Kaiser, again, from our past, I think she was president of the Chamber of Commerce at one
Yes.
point in town here?
Yes.
Okay. Any other nominations for Historic Commission? As long as we're on there. Okay, then all in favor of Ms. Joanne Kaiser by acclamation, please say aye.
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 Opposed, abstained, motion is carried. Nice to have Ms. Kaiser, congratulations also. Any other nominations for positions?
No, but lastly, Mr. Mayor, maybe you
Kramer.
want to read off at least the list of commissions that have openings on them, in case there are people.
Okay, very good. Do you want to do that since you
Either
made
way.
the recommendation?
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
All right.
I'll read it.
I'll do the
Nobody
first-
wants it, I'll read
No.
it.
You said
Mr.
one very-
Vasanella, go ahead.
I'll read it. We don't want a debate to start. Advisory Board of Health, student non-voting member. Advisory Recreation Council, teen public school member. Advisory Recreation Council, teen public school member, number 2.
Well, just maybe if you read.
I know,
the
sir.
commissions.
Yeah, maybe just the commission, not the position?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Advisory Recreation Council, I mentioned that it's a teen position, though. There's 2 for public and 2 for private school. We very seldom get them filled, so hopefully some teens will step up. Otherwise, Board of Adjustment's been filled tonight. Cable Television Advisory Committee is open, but I will say I was at a meeting last night, and they are interviewing someone that they may end up recommending to us. Doesn't mean that other people can't apply. Cultural Arts Council, there's 5 steering committee seats. Historic, we just filled. Rent Leveling Board, there's citizen, tenant, and landlord positions, but I don't know if we're filling them at this
Is
time.
that an active committee? Anne Marie?
It's
No,
required,
there's-
it's active only in that we have to have it because we still have rent-controlled apartments, and because
And
of that, we have to have it, but we don't have a
We don't
quorum.
have, we don't have any,
We don't have a
we have
quorum.
one member, and all the other seats are vacant.
And it only meets when necessary.
Right.
Okay.
So if someone came up with a complaint, what would happen?
It's a very good question.
We'd have to get a
I
board
would,
together.
I would call our township attorney, Louis Reynaud.
Does it cost us anything? Do we
No.
have? Okay, we can have one. then.
And there is a Senior Citizen Advisory Committee. There's a spot for a senior citizen non-club member and a spot for a non-senior citizen.
Okay.
And that's it, Mayor.
Okay, thank. Okay, so thank you very much. So now we have,
I just
we
read
have a resolution for an executive session. Executive session is when we can meet in private. There's only certain instances when we can do that as a council, such as personnel items, attorney-client privilege, negotiations. So we have executive session number 18 on the agenda, 18A, Resolution 14-40. Authorize executive session for attorney-client privilege, Hamilton Street Special Improvement District. This is presented to the Township Council for adoption. Is there a motion for the resolution for executive session?
So moved.
Seconded.
Okay, moved and seconded. Ms. McCarthy, please poll the council on the resolution for executive session.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman
Yes.
Francois? Councilman Kramer?
Yes.
Mayor Levine?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Regan?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Okay, motion is carried. Okay, we're going to go into executive session now. When we come out of executive session, we're only going to do two pieces of business. Number one, we're going to vote to come out of executive session, and number two, we're going to vote to adjourn, so that you're not hanging on through all that. We're going to stop the taping now. Be well, and Happy New Year from all of us.